guides, what you will see is there is a myth out there perpetuated by English teachers that you cannot start a sentence with and or but. But it is not true. Now, if you're teaching younger students, there is a good reason. You don't want a whole lot of ands at the beginning of sentences. We want them to use in addition, moreover, however instead of but. You want them to get some variation. But you all know that when you read formal, published writing, you will get a lot of sentence initial and. But the Microsoft Grammar Checker doesn't like it. And I have to say, this was my first flag that there is something wrong with the Microsoft Grammar Checker. Because if you look in usage guides, you cannot find this rule, but there it is in the Microsoft Grammar Checker. The Microsoft Grammar Checker is the most powerful prescriptive force in the world. I don't say that lightly. It is. It is on computers by default. It is perpetuating this rule. What I would like all of us to do with more advanced students is use these little pop-up boxes as moments for critical conversation, as opposed to moments for that's right and that's wrong, because those boxes require more critical conversation. So let me wrap up here with the idea that what I've been talking about here, finally here with and but, is that the notions of right and wrong, as you all know, are much more complicated than those two words in and of themselves suggest. I would like us to be thinking much more about the word acceptable, which then raises questions about acceptable to whom and in what context, because those are more interesting and important questions. Formal standard English is one thing, and it's not the only thing. It is just one thing. We want, all of us want, to use the best English for the context in which we are speaking or writing. And that's what we want for our students. You will know your context. You will know the context for your students. The image that I like to use, or the analogy, is repertoire. And that what I want for every student is the biggest repertoire that they can have. And that means you're not replacing things, you are adding. So I want students who can use informal English and formal English, non-standard English if they bring that to the classroom, and standard English. Because that means that they are more adept speakers and writers in all the contexts in which they work. I want students to feel like they are making choices. If they are multilingual students, between languages, multidialectal, between dialects. And to make choices, you have to know that there are choices. And I want students to feel empowered, to feel like there are choices. And I have found that it can be very engaging for students and teachers to push against clear-cut answers about right and wrong. To ask those questions that start with, says who? Who says I can't do that? And that we get to decide on what the best decision is in our context for our audience. So thank you very much for coming here today.